I'll often come across videos or articles talking about how a character from a TV show or movie had an unsatisfying arc and all the character development was thrown out the window and such and such. Now, I get it. This can be annoying. I mean, you invest months, sometimes years, or days, if you like to binge like me, of your life into a story and characters, and then the writers just ruin it all with one line, one scene, one action. You scream at the TV and storm to your closet and set fire to your shrine. What? I don't have a shrine. What are you talking? As an audience member, I understand the mindset, but as a writer, I don't get it. Life is not linear and doesn't always make sense, so why do stories and characters need arcs and a linear progression to be considered good? Audiences say they are ready for and craving realistic characters and stories, yet when they get them, they're considered boring or irritating or just bad quality. Something that I think is deeply ingrained into the subconscious of audiences is the need for arcs to think the story and character are complete and well thought out. Sometimes an arc is not needed or realistic, because not everyone changes in such a profound way or an obvious way. When an arc is needed, and if it's realistic, it might not be satisfying because not everyone changes in a way that, on the surface and to the general audience, makes sense. Point 1. Realistic is boring. Toru Okada from the Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami is a realistic character. He's mundane, meek, and honestly, boring for half the book. Even in the second half, it can be argued that he isn't entertaining, but rather the things happening around him are interesting. But he is realistic. While not all of them, realistic characters have a higher chance of being boring, irritating, anything of that ilk than formulaic characters do. Usually, characters who follow a formula aren't irritating or boring because writers wrinkle out those flaws because people don't like irritating and boring people, and writers want the audience to like their characters. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. I mean, I want to like the character I'm reading about, and I want my audience to like the character I'm writing about. But sometimes, as a writer, you have to sacrifice likability for realism if that's your goal. Point 2. Trauma does not equal likability. Jehl Fahara from We Shall Reap by yours truly is, in my opinion, a realistic character. At least, I tried to make her as realistic as possible. I mean, she has magic, but it's elemental magic, and in fantasy, that's as mundane as it gets. Her backstory is really traumatizing, at least in my opinion, and I put a lot of effort in to make sure she shows her trauma. How it affected her personality and way of thinking and her arc. Yes, I did give her an arc. I'm not saying realistic characters can't have arcs, I'm just saying not all do, and sometimes it's more realistic not to have one. But I think I did a good job, but it did cost the character something. Universal likability. Characters are not liked by everyone in the world, but you get those characters that are liked by most of the population, so Gandalf, Jim Halpert, Jar Jar Binks. Sorry, choked on my water there. So, Jehl is not like that. To some people, she might be unlikable, and honestly, that's kind of hard to say because I didn't plan for that. But, looking at her backstory, I actually realized that actually makes more sense for her character, because if her trauma manifests in such a way that it makes her an acquired taste, then, so be it. Sometimes universal likability might be the price for creating realistic characters, even if it hurts the writer a bit. Another character who people don't like because of their arc is Harvey Dent from The Dark Knight. He is Gotham's White Knight and turns into someone who holds children at gunpoint. A lot of people think this isn't a realistic reaction, but why? Trauma does not affect people in the same way. Harvey went through terrible physical trauma and is grieving the loss of the woman he loves, the woman he wanted to marry. He's clearly having a mental breakdown. Breakdowns don't always look like punching a wall and sobbing and rocking in fetal position in the corner. We know from history that severe mental stress can lead to horrible tragedies. I'm not excusing Harvey Dent's actions. What I'm saying is that I don't think it's as unrealistic as people think. It's just not as satisfying or as progressive as people think it should be. Point 3. Death duels are dumb. Alliteration. Sorry. Why do main characters get that final duel with the antagonist instead of dying in a huge battle by the hand of a random soldier? Why does the villain have to be killed by a main character instead of a random soldier? Unless the main character is a master warrior, and unless the villain planned for the duel to happen, anyway, unless the main character is a master warrior, holy frick. Unless the main character is a master warrior and the villain planned for the main character and them to have a duel, a face-off in the final moments, wouldn't it be more realistic for the MC to die randomly in battle, or for the antagonist to be killed by someone maybe with more experience, especially if the setting is a large-scale battle? I mean, a lot of things happen in war. I mean, plot armor does not exist in actual war. So, I mean, duh. So, like, why, if you want to have a realistic story, why have it in the story? Okay, anyway. Perhaps it's not as satisfying, but for a story featuring a battle, it's definitely more realistic. One show I think does this really well is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Instead of only having Ed face off against Father in an epic alchemy battle that there's no way he could have won without a deus ex machina, an entire army, several alchemists, and a superpowered homunculus all fight together to destroy Father, with Ed having the final blows. Now, this was the first time I hadn't seen the protagonist of the story be the sole hero in the final moments. I mean, other than Samwise, of course. The other characters are always in the peanut gallery, snacking on popcorn and drinking pop, while the MC gets their butt kicked while trying and eventually succeeding in killing or destroying the antagonist. I think having Ed solely defeating Father would be way less satisfying, because it's just not realistic in the type of story Fullmetal is telling. Conclusion. Sometimes stories and characters shouldn't have a satisfying ending. That being said, realistic characters and arcs aren't an audience favorite. I'm making this video, but I do prefer arcs that are satisfying. Real people are more annoying than formulaic characters, and not everyone follows a satisfying arc. Not everyone is profoundly changed at the end of their story. This is one of my issues with traditional writing rules. Characters and stories need to be formed a certain way to be good quality, but I don't agree with that. In 2021, there are more stories breaking traditional rules more than ever, and I think that's a good thing. I'm not saying we should do away with traditional writing rules. I mean, just look at I before E except after C. It's the most useful rule in all of English. But I don't agree that they should determine whether something is good or not. Toru, Ed, Jehl, at least in my opinion, I might be a bit biased, but I think they're all good characters. But they break the rules, and that should not just be allowed, but accepted as equal to more traditional characters in quality. Just because there is no arc or the arc is unsatisfying doesn't mean the story wasn't thought out. It's not true what teachers say, that everything a writer says is intentional and meaningful. There is no hidden meaning to describing the sunset. It's just an excuse to use words like xanthus and vermilion. I love those words. But when it comes to realistic stories and characters, that has way more thought and intention and meaning than a final duel or flamboyant characters usually have. It is not usually a mistake of the writers, but a purposeful breaking of the rules. This isn't to say one is better than the other in general, but in certain situations, in certain stories, yes, one is better than the other. It's up to you to decide which, I guess. Traditional writing rules is not what makes a story good. Still, there is something to be said for a complete arc. It's satisfying, it makes sense, it connects everything together. Besides, if I wanted realism, I'd go downtown, not press play. So, quick promo time. I wrote a book. It's a high fantasy called We Shall Reap, and it's about the sorceress named Jehl, that's with a J, not a Z, who is just trying to live her life when Roan, the man who nearly killed her, comes back and asks for her help to save their country, which is dying from famine. Along with Barrack, Rowan's right-hand man, and Sariel, an elven mercenary, they embark on a quest to find the Torenstone, which may or may not save or destroy the country. We shall see. It's available on Amazon and a few other places, which is all listed in the description below, along with a more detailed blurb about the book. It's character driven, so if you like stories like Six of Crows, the book, I haven't watched the TV show, and which are heavily about the characters, then you'll probably like this. I'm super proud of it, so if you want to support me, or if it looks like something you might be interested in, click a link to your preferred book site in the description below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, subscribe anyways because you might like my next one. And in the comment section, let me know your take on traditional writing rules and if you've broken any in your own writing. And a disclaimer that I'm putting at the end of the video instead of the beginning of the video because I don't want you to be put off by anything. This is all my opinion. This is just for fun. If you have any comments, please be respectful. Thanks for watching and happy Friday. I'm so done with this video. I freaking recorded it like 2 times already. Oh man, I hate this.